Hello quiet ones, welcome back. Missed you too. I hope you remember to click that thumbs up button and the subscribe as well. Plus, I hope you enjoyed today's video. This is a true story. I know that's cliche to say in this day and age, claiming that something incredible happened without video proof is a surefire way to make certain people won't believe you. Everyone does it though, especially in the realm of scary and the supernatural movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Strangers are supposedly based on true stories. But when you take a look at the events inspiring them, you'll find an excessive amount of artistic license has gone into the end product. The result, many times, is that the tale told becomes hardly recognizable from its source material. I guess the writers and directors figure reality isn't scary enough. The story I'm about to relate happened, though just the way I'm telling it. No embellishment needed. I wouldn't lie about that because, well, you'll see. I grew up in a different world than today. The internet wasn't commercialized yet. Phones were still attached to the wall and kids played outside on afternoons and weekends. The information age is marvelous, an incredible amount of knowledge available instantaneously at our fingertips. Questions that in my youth would have taken days of research at the library to answer are satisfied in moments with a quick Google search. The issue I've found is having access to such a fount of knowledge has made us lazy. We assume incorrectly that we can't find anything online. If there's nothing there, if the search results come up empty, it must either be unimportant or simply not exist. That's not true. Some things, some very real and very important things, have avoided making the digital leap. Things like old mother cleaver. My mom and I moved to a new town a couple weeks after my 13th birthday. My dad was in the army, and eventually mom got tired of pulling up her life and starting over every couple of years. My parents decided to try a trial separation and jointly concluded I go with mom, since dad's lifestyle wouldn't be ideal for raising a kid by himself. I didn't get to have much of an opinion in the matter, so that was that. My mom wanted to live somewhere we could put down roots. She said she was looking for a place that embodied pure Americana, small town living but close enough to a big city that you could catch a flight if the itch to travel caught you. And that's where we ended up, a little town in Pennsylvania, not far from Pittsburgh. I'm not going to say exactly where because, well then, I'd consider myself responsible for anything that might happen to anyone looking to corroborate my story. Just think of It's a Wonderful Life, and that will give you a pretty good idea. It was summer when we arrived, a particularly hot one, and I remember flies the size of gumballs flitting through air that seemed hazy because of the heat. Mom got a job as a secretary for the judge at the town courthouse. She worked long hours, and since I wouldn't be starting school until the end of August, I was left to my own devices from pretty much sunup to sundown. The little 2-bedroom duplex she could afford on her salary, even supplemented with monthly checks from my dad, was cozy but didn't have air conditioning, minus a few ceiling fans that didn't do much to cool you off. Accordingly, I spent most of my days wandering around town to take my mind off the heat. That is how I came to meet Tom and Terry, siblings for that summer became my best friends in the whole world. They were Irish twins, Terry being my age and Tom slightly older. Tom was gregarious and energetic, Terry more reserved and bookish, but despite their differences, they shared curly brown hair, emerald green eyes, and a tight-knit bond. Even though we were on a pretty meager budget, my mom gave me a couple dollars a week in allowance that I would generally blow at the old-fashioned soda shop downtown. I first ran into the brothers at the store's comic rack, and we bonded over the latest issue of Uncanny X-Men and chocolate milkshakes. Eventually we realized we only lived a couple blocks apart from each other. From that first meeting on, we were nigh inseparable. Tom and Terry were in a similar situation to me. Their mom had died a couple years earlier, and their dad worked the night shift at the paper mill just outside town. Most mornings I'd take my old 10-speed over to their house, where we'd meet up and head out for the day. The two of them had lived there since they'd been born, so they were able to show me all the interesting things there were for kids to do in town and throughout the surrounding area. If nothing out of the ordinary had happened that summer, I'd still remember it as clearly as I do now. From all the memories I built with Terry and Tom, every day was an adventure. Bike races down Breakneck Hill, cannonballs in the swimming hole out the east woods, catching fireflies in the twilight gloom, and many others. Looking back now, I recognize the first part of that summer composed the framework to a kind of youthful Eden. Occasionally we would have sleepovers. The brothers' house stood on the edge of their neighborhood, and they had a large backyard bordered by thick, leafy woods. The oppressive heat thankfully gave a reprieve most days after the sun went down, so some nights we'd build a bonfire and pile sleeping bags into the tent. Tom still had from 6 months in the Boy Scouts. It was on one of those evenings, about 2 months after I'd moved to town, toasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories, that I was introduced to the legend of Old Mother Cleaver. "You don't know about Mom Cleaver?" Tom asked with a grin, firelight reflecting off his teeth. I shook my head. "What is she? Some kind of urban legend? Like the Hook or Bloody Mary or something?" "Or something," Terry murmured. Tom laughed. "Nah, nothing like those little kiddie stories. The Cleaves is real. That's what most urban legends want you to believe. If she's so real, how come I've never heard of her?" Tom shrugged. "Probably because she's local. But she's definitely real. Our dad told us the story about her one time when he got super drunk, a long time ago. There was this lady that lived in a little house out in the woods with her son. Everyone in town knew she was supposed to be a witch, but because they would go to her for love potions and to help deliver babies, they pretty much just ignored it. Really? A witch? Shut up, that's what my dad said. Anyway, the mayor's wife was having a baby, but she died giving birth. The mayor said it must have been something the witch did and got everyone all worked up. A bunch of people went out to her house and burned it down. I rolled my eyes and speared another marshmallow. And now the witch's ghost haunts the town, right? No, Mr. Smarty Pants, the witch wasn't home. My dad figures she must have been pretty upset about the mayor's wife and was wandering in the woods when the crowd got there. The only one in the house was her son. Alright, quiet ones. I'm gonna have to cut it short. For Old Mother Cleaver, this is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. I also hope you're enjoying the story, because I am. And thank you to Shadow Swimmer 77. You can find him on Creepypasta, and I will be putting a link into the description as well. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to press the thumbs up, subscribe, and remember to click the bell icon to ensure that you're notified when new content drops. Until my next video, thank you for watching, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, quiet ones.